Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Matt. I'm a content producer on behalf of OddsJam, and today I will be placing some bets for tonight's Eagles-Bucs Thursday night football game. So, as you can see, I'm an Eagles fan, and just that I've actually already placed the bets, but because I have a location issue on my computer, I'm unable to do it live. So these are bets that I have already placed. So you'll see some sprinkled in here, like some positive EV, some normal, and then these are odds boosts. That's why they look a little clunky because I manually entered them. They're all odds boosts. But let's start from the bottom. So this was a positive EV play at the time. It was Jalen Hurts over 26.5 completions. So it looks like I got it at minus 115, and the Pinnacle line has dropped, or I guess increased, however you want to call it, all the way to plus 20. So this bet is actually no longer plus EV. Looks like I locked it on the 12th, and then it changed. As of today, it changed, all the way, like I said, up to plus 120. And that also happened for the Quez Watkins one as well. So you might be wondering, why am I highlighting that if it shows a situation that I locked in a bet where it's no longer positive EV? And B, why is this a profitable scenario? So just right off the bat, this stuff happens, right? Odds change. At the time, these are both over 7% positive EV plays. So if you look at betting tools, positive EV, they were over 7%. So they were good when I got them. And unfortunately, the sharpest sportsbook out there, Pinnacle, the odds that OddsJam calculated, they changed. That happens. Just like you'll have a bet like this one, the 12.5% might lose. Sometimes you'll take a positive EV bet that is no longer positive. But I wanted to highlight it because it's important to show that that kind of stuff can happen and you can still profit. So that's happened to me a bunch of times. Like if you go through, let's go to my bet tracker real quick. So like let's look at how many times. So like this that's actually one not positive EV. So like this Rodgers one changed, this Rager one changed. Sammy Watkins, like all this stuff was positive EV and it no longer was. And it looks like those majority of time lost. But you'll see a ton of situations where, they're mostly green, right? So you'll have the situations few and far between where they end red. But overall, most of them are green and most of them win. So if you look at my my profit, I've profited, and I went over this on Monday in more detail, but I've profited over $700, almost 725 in just weeks, starting from week 2. So I wasn't able to bet week 1, and I have a $500 bankroll, so mine's not really that high. Most people, especially people that are using OddsJam, but I've already made all my money back if you include the total profit that I've made. So you'll have down weeks like I had last week. My profit was down. That's okay because I'm still up overall. You'll have bad weeks. And just like you'll have bad weeks, you'll also have scenarios like I've highlighted where the bet is no longer positive EV. But, it happens rarely, and more times than not, the odds will continue to go. May the odds be ever in your favor. They'll continue to go in your favor. That's not what I want to do. So looking at my pending bets, first things first, I just want to highlight these 4 odds boosts. So there's 2 of them that I think are just free money that I think you should max out. And one's FanDuel, one's Caesars. So this Brady over 229 passing yards and 1.5 TDs. That's like the auto freest money that you can get, right? That's like almost saying, let me just go to William Hill real quick. That's like almost saying will the game even be played tonight? That's going to happen. And come on, I guess I need to log in. I just want to show you. So here it is. The Super Boost. These Super Boosts hit a lot. I've already locked it in. So let me sign into my account. You'll see it under my open bets. See, can't verify your location. Annoying. So I've already locked it in, right? That one I think you should, this isn't anything positive EV. That's just a really good boost that Caesars is doing. The next one that I wanted to highlight that I really liked, this is a FanDuel one. That passing should say 300 yards. I need to edit that. But it's Tom Brady passes for 300 yards and the Bucs win. The Bucs are 7-point favorites, so they're very heavy favorites. They should win. And if you look at Tom Brady's stats, they blow out teams, and B, they'll continue to throw it. So it looks like he had over 400 yards against the Dolphins, over 400 yards against the Rams, and over 300 yards against the Cowboys. And then against the Falcons, he had only, quote, 276 passing yards, but he had 5 touchdowns. So it just happened to be one of those games. And that was also a game, if you remember, where the Bucs or the Falcons had the Bucs against the Falcons had 2 pick sixes. So that was a weird one. So the only real game Brady didn't hit 300 yards. Looks like it was against the Patriots, but one, that game was rainy, and B, you could tell that Tom Brady was uncharacteristically jittery because he missed so many throws he normally makes. And the Eagles, if you look at the Eagles defense, like Prescott had a huge game against them. Mahomes had a huge game against them. So against the top tier offenses, the Eagles get shredded. So that's why, I like all of these, but the ones I really wanted to highlight are these two, Caesars and FanDuel. Let me just log into my FanDuel account. So just to kind of show you that is the bet that I locked in. In Virginia. Typing in my password. Yes, you can save it. Let's go to, I know my location. Let's go to my bets. Active, Tom Brady throws 300 passing yards, Bucs win. It's a very good bet. So those are the odds boosts. So now let's look at, I only placed one non-positive EV bet that I wanted to highlight. So the Bucs right now are I got them at minus 6.5 on FanDuel. But if you look at the sharpest sportsbook out there, if you look at Pinnacle, it has the true line calculated at actually minus 7. So you're getting that extra half point, which is extremely important, obviously, because the difference between winning by a touchdown and not, right? Excuse me. So like getting the 2.5 to 3, to 3 to 3.5, to 6.5 to 7, to 7 to 7.5. All those are incredibly important lines. So like you can see, it's minus 7 at plus 104. You go down to 6.5 and it's already minus 113. Like that's how important that difference is. So I locked in Bucs minus 6.5. I can't imagine this is going to be a good game for the Eagles. They played two good offenses and they lost both by double digits. They just got shredded, and they got lucky to beat the Panthers last week, but they really had a terrible game plan. It made no sense. I don't need to get into that. That's for a different video. Just trust me. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni doesn't look like he has any idea what he's doing. And Tom Brady, for whatever, he's won a bunch of Super Bowls and he's lost 2 to the Giants. But I'll tell you, that Eagles Super Bowl loss, he will not get over. He still talks about that all the time. So Brady's coming to Philly. The game's in Philly. He's coming for blood. I think he's going to really, even though different coaching staff, I think he's really going to want to blow him out. So I put 50 on the Bucs minus 6.5. I think that's a good play. I almost put 100 on it, but I am an Eagles fan, so I don't want to put too much on it. So now I want to highlight the positive EV plays that I made. So let me filter this for just positive EV. So the two at the bottom are unfortunately no longer positive EV. That Jalen Hurts completions, I'm surprised to see that go all the way from minus 115 to plus 120. I actually still really like that bet. Obviously, if I were betting now, if I hadn't locked this in yet, I wouldn't bet it. But, if someone were to ask me without looking at the lines, do I think he hits the over on completions? I would say yes. And I think DraftKings actually lowered this to 25.5. That's not what I want. Jalen Hurts completions. Yeah, so it's 25.5 at minus 110. So this is just a situation where I locked it in early and I did not benefit from it. But I still think that goes over, so I don't hate that I have the bet. And if you look at Jalen Hurts' stats, right, I think he only hit this one time, but it was against the Chiefs. So the Chiefs put up 42 points, and he had 32 completions for 48 yards. So actually, no, he hit it against the Falcons as well. He had 27. So, and he almost did against the Dallas. He ended with exactly 25. But if you remember that game, so the Falcons game when he did go over, they had a lot of short passing, and it worked. The Falcons defense had no idea, the Falcons defense is terrible, but that short passing game worked. He did it all the way up to 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 27 completions. The next week against San Francisco, and that game is similar. The San Francisco and Carolina games, so week 2 and week 5, I kind of put in the same boat, and they didn't hit. But that is when the Eagles were just like terrible offense, terrible offensive game plan, had no idea what they were doing. We're trying all this stuff that wasn't working and simply wouldn't change it. Against Kansas City, when their offense played well, he had 32 completions for 48 yards. And against Dallas, they started off slow, and then it kind of came on hot in garbage time, and he almost hit that. So why do I think it's a good play for tonight? Well, the 2 games in which the Eagles' defense has been terrible and given up a lot of points, Jalen Hurts has had 25 or more passing completions. So I honestly put the floor at 25 because I expect Tampa Bay to put up a ton of points. You can't run on Tampa Bay, and even if you could, the Eagles don't run. Like Sirianni has gotten criticized for not running the ball. When he goes against this, historically successful run defense against Tampa Bay, he might not even run it once. So I think the Eagles are going to be passing it a ton. I think they're going to be down a ton. And I think that Tampa Bay, similar to Kansas City, is weak in the secondary. So where Hurts was able to find success against a bad secondary against the Chiefs, I can see him having similar success against the Bucs. I mean, they threw almost 50 times. I wouldn't be surprised if he threw, almost had similar stats, 32 for 48. Maybe not for that many yards, but I do think that he hits that. So even though the Jalen Hurts, like I said, the no longer positive EV, I still think that one's going to hit, but we'll see. This Quez Watkins one, so finally last week he outsnapped Jalen Reagor. Quez Watkins is their second best receiver. The Eagles keep playing Jalen Reagor because he was a first-round pick, which annoys the hell out of me. The Eagles need to fire their GM. That's a different discussion. So the Quez Watkins longest reception over 19.5. So far this year, this would have hit 3 times. So if you look at Jalen Hurts stats, or sorry, not Jalen Hurts, Quez Watkins. Quez Watkins stats. I think I need to go to ESPN for this. I need to look at his game log. So there we go. So this would have hit 3 of the 5 games. It hit against Carolina. He had a huge 53-yard play. He had another huge 41-yard play against Dallas, and then he had the 91-yard reception that somehow didn't result in a score against San Francisco. So I think that they're gonna continue to go to Quez deep. They've kind of found something there. I think the Eagles coaching staff is finally realizing that he needs to be on the field more than Reagor. So I think those 3 targets, he had 7 the week before. I wouldn't be surprised if he has close to 7 targets again, and he almost would have gone over against the Chiefs. He was only 2 yards short, but I think this is going to be a game where they're going to look for Quez deep a lot. They're going to make it happen, and it's happened in 3 of the 5 games so far. I think this one's a good play. So again, it's no longer positive EV. Let's see what DraftKings has this line at now. Let's see. I want to go longest reception. Quez Watkins. So it's still at 19.5. Looks like it's at minus 125 now. I got it at minus 110. So that is a helpful thing that the odds have changed. Looks like that has been bet up by the sharps out there. But again, if I were placing bets now, I probably wouldn't go with this one. But it's another one that I like and I think will hit. And then the 2 positive EV plays. So I put 50 on Gainwell. At plus money, I love this bet. This is probably my favorite one aside from the Bucs covering. So Kenny Gainwell, if you don't know who he is, he's a lesser known. He's a rookie 4th-round running back that the Eagles drafted, obviously, and he has become their passing down back. So he might not get a ton of snaps. So if you look at Quez Watkins or Kenny Gainwell stats, he doesn't get a ton of snaps, but what he does get, he's their passing down back. So he will probably take the most of the snaps to Miles Sanders. So if you look at receiving. So this would have only hit 1 game against Kansas City. He looks like he had 3 against Dallas. But as I've said before, I think this game against the Bucs is going to closely resemble that game against Kansas City. I think the Bucs could put up 40-plus points. The Eagles are also, I think they're going to have success moving the ball. And Gainwell had 6 receptions. I wouldn't be surprised if he had 6 receptions again. I think that's a good play. So that's my favorite one. That's why I put the full 50 on it. O.J. Howard under 1.5. I mean, when is the last time you've heard O.J. Howard? His name. He hasn't done anything really. He's hurt all last year. I know Gronk is out, but O.J. Howard just does not get much run. So he has looks like he has 4 catches on the year. He had 2 against the Dolphins, 0-1-1. I don't think this is going to be a big O.J. Howard game, obviously. I know the receptions, it's scary. He can't have 2, but he's only done it once. He only has 4 on the year. There's a reason why it's so low. I like that bet a lot. And then there's another one that I haven't locked in yet, but I will, that I wanted to highlight. So this is another not positive EV play based on the betting tools, but it's one that, it's a Matt positive EV play based on my research analysis. But it is the Bucs over their team total. So it looks like you can get it at minus 105 on BetMGM. And we looked at the Bucs stats before, but let's just do it again. They basically need to score more than 30 points. So when you look at their schedule, they've done it 3 of their 5 games. That game against New England, I kind of just take off the record book because of how weird it was. So if you take their point total from the other, for their other 4 games, they averaged 37 per game. So the only time they would have gone under this 30 is against the Rams. And the Rams have a much better defense than the Eagles. The Eagles have played 2 good offenses and have given up and I've given up 40 points both times. So I'm actually going to go ahead and lock this in now on BetMGM. Let me do it on my phone, then I'll pull it up on my computer. I know, sorry for the whole thing. It's just how it be. Let me log in. But yeah, the Bucs scoring 30 points I think is auto. I'm surprised to see you get the minus 105. I thought that would be closer to, minus 110, minus 115. So I think that's a really good play. Let's go total. How many points will Tampa Bay score? Over 30.5, minus 105. I'm going to go ahead and put a 50 burger on this. And there we go. So let me log into my BetMGM account. And just to prove that I actually did it, because I don't want you to think I'm a big phony loser or anything like that. I am a loser. I'm not a phony one. So I'm logged in. How do I go to my bets? Yes, I know a location. There we go. $50 over 30.5. So those are my plays. I think if I were to highlight my three favorite, just to kind of, I know I've talked about a lot, but to give my three favorite, Bucs over 30.5. Bucs cover 6.5, and aside from the odds boosts, because those are it's kind of cheap because they're odds that are boosted. The Kenny Gainwell over 3.5 receptions for plus money I think is a great bet. I'm an Eagles fan, so I kind of like to joke that me betting on Eagles and Sixers games shouldn't be allowed because I like to believe I have better knowledge about them than even the sports books do. So I'm very confident in these bets. I have them all tracked, so you can see I've 405 in pending bets. Right now my total profit's 1290. So I have it all tracked. I want to see how I end up doing just on this game alone. So I'll definitely track that, and I'll come out with the information, whether it's on my Twitter or whether it's on a future video. I definitely want to see how I do. But if you do want to find me on Twitter, you can hit me up at Modi_sports. You can also email me. I'm very good with email at Matthew, MATTHEW at oddsjam.com. And I'd love for you to hit me up. I'd love to hear what you guys think, whether you think it's a good betting strategy that I've done for tonight's game, whether you don't like it, why you don't like it, why you might like it, stuff like that. Like I said, I just would love it for people to hit me up. But that's all I got for you. So happy betting, happy watching, and good luck, everybody.